to go to a friend's 50th birthday. My wife and I, a friend that I've known for almost 20 years, and a friend that had put a lot of time and energy into his 50th birthday. It was in NAPA, which was in the orange status, relatively loose compared to some other counties. It was to be an outdoor restaurant, and we started the program started at 4 o'clock. It was one of those early reservations. I got there a little bit late at 4:30. And as soon as I sat down at the larger table, I realized it was a little larger group than I had anticipated. And I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up and walked back, got in my car, and drove back to my house. Instead, I chose to sit there with my wife and a number of other couples that were outside the household. And you can quibble about the guidelines, et cetera, but the spirit of what I'm preaching all the time was contradicted, and I got to own that. And so I want to apologize to you because I need to preach and practice, not just preach and not practice. And I've done my best to do that. We're all human. We all fall short sometimes. We've been out, and I think for 3 times since, in fact, I know it's been 3 times because I remember all of those dinners very, very vividly since February, just 3 times. Twice with my wife, by myself, outdoors, and then this one occasion with a larger group. And there were just a few extra people there than the spirit of what I am promoting. And so if we're going to minimize mixing, you got to own up to that. So I just want folks to know that. Paid for our dinner, and we had an early dinner, but it didn't matter. I shouldn't have been there. I should have turned back around. And so when that happens, you pay the price, but you also own the mistake, and you don't ever make it again. And you have my word on that. And just know this has not been a practice I've indulged in the past. I take it very seriously, what we are promoting, and have been doing so for many, many months. And you should expect nothing less of me, and I expect more from myself. And you have that commitment in my resolve in that respect as well. So when I say minimize mixing, I mean it. But again, COVID fatigue is exhausting, and I'm empathetic beyond words. I'm not here to browbeat anybody. I'm here to find the higher angels in the spirit that is this moment, to try to work through and get through this sprint, get to those vaccines where that light really is at the end of the tunnel, but work through what we all had anticipated, and that's what's occurred in the last really 10 days or so, and that's a rate of increase that makes this perhaps the most difficult and challenging time throughout this year, and certainly since the beginning of this pandemic. With that, happy to take any questions.
Adam Beam, Associated Press.
Governor, all the evidence health officials have provided points to social gatherings as the main driver of this surge, and yet the a business operating responsibly and one that isn't. So what do you tell these businesses that are playing by the rules and are frustrated and angry by this announcement? And what is the benefit to them of doing what the state says they must do if they will still be penalized?
Well, the bottom line is we've been very effective with a surgical approach to mitigating the spread of this virus. The original stay-at-home order was determinative in California avoiding a first wave that many other states in this nation avoided. And that was a consequence of efforts to really restrict movement, but also restrict activities, sectoral activities in certain sectors of our economy. We put out guidelines, we have rules, and we want to enforce those rules for individuals as well as businesses. As you know well, I come from private sector. I have a number of businesses in the state of California. It's in a blind trust, but I know a thing or two about small businesses, and I know the hard work that is being done to not only address the state guidelines, but also to figure out and navigate some of the local guidelines that are coming out, least of which the guidelines coming out of the CDC as well. Dr. Galley has not been shy in terms of